Welcome to the second video of using Playwright for testing WEBCON BPS. I'm currently working on it to make it really easy to test WEBCON BPS using Playwright. Here, like as you can see it in the background, it's currently executing a test. And since I'm still in the progress of doing it or making it easier to use, I will focus in this video on the changes I've received since the last one. And I'm really hyped about it. Okay, what you can see here, there are currently 3 windows opened in the behind because I have 3 tests in here. The first one submits the workflow, enters some data. The second one approves it using another using another user. And the third one verifies it's in the final step. When the data was submitted, the test entered the title, the description, switched to a second tab, entered here a value, expanded the output group and checked whether these calculated values are really the expected ones. And of course here it was the user was set. This whole stuff here, this whole tapping and switching, verifying the values is defined by an iForm data object where we define the tabs. Let me get the browser. Here we define the tab, the general tab, the second tab, the input field, the group, and here we see which value it should have, this field, and that we should check it whether it's true. So 2 times 2 should result in 4, and here we expect 2 times 3 should be 6, of course. And all of this, and once we define this here, this data, we can use it in the test itself. And the test itself only consists of which URL do I need to open to start the workflow, authenticate the user and open the page, enrich the data you find above with some additional information, so that, for example, that we can have here the path ID and the step ID, or provide here the path ID and the step ID, which don't help us much if you want to execute the path transition or check the step, as we only have the titles. And this enriched data does exactly this. It gets the title of the path and the title of the step, which then can be used for checking the step, whether it's the correct one. And this little row here does all the magic. We pass in the information here we defined above. Here's this control and the function at this point lays here. Does all the magic, like clicking, entering the data, clicking to the second tab, entering and checking everything else and submitting it. Here's the submit. Here we are checking whether it was submitted successfully. And because this was the first test, I'm getting the workflow instance ID, storing it in a local variable so it can be used by the second test, which is basically the same. We get the page, we provide the additional information for this, what should be done in this test, check if it's in the correct step, enter the data, and check whether execute the path transition and check whether it was successful. That's all what is currently necessary to do. But of course, I'm currently in the progress of doing this, so it's very limited. The functionality, not everything is defined. You can see an overview in the blog post. But what I find really interesting is that this test here has been running for 16 seconds to do everything. And for example, if I would do something like this, if you would change something in WEBCON, for example, that's output would be different of the business rule. We will simulate it by expecting here another that we would expect here another value, because I don't want to open the designer studio, modify the business rule, save it and test it here. I will just simulate it this way. And if we run now this test again, we will get an error that we expected 16, but received 6. So all the tests failed. And yeah, that's the reason why I'm really hyped about Playwright right now, and I'm putting a lot of effort into it to make it really easy to use because of these benefits I see if we would be using it with WEBCON. Maybe or another example for this would be that we don't change the value, but for example, that a field is for some reason no longer required or is required where it should be required because some form rule is executed differently or a form rule was added to market as required while it shouldn't be. For example, if you would be adding it, if you would say that the multi-line text field should be required and it's currently not required, then we should also receive an error here. So, description is not marked as required, also we defined it as required. Now that I think of it, should be good to define fields, or to define also fields that they shouldn't be required, so that I can check against them. But yes, that's one of those ideas which I have in mind for doing so. Yeah, that's all for right now, but maybe you really find it interesting to see what we can achieve with such little information. And I'm really hyped about it, and we'll see what I can do next. Okay, but that's all for it. Bye.